Guys, what's up again? Doug here, Recording Connection Audio Institute. We're going to take a quick look at this 7-band EQ that comes with Pro Tools. What I want to do really quickly is just play a loop for you and give you a potential situation in which EQ can really help carve out and separate certain frequencies. So what we have here is a 16-bar loop. So we'll go ahead and play this for you, and you can kind of hear some problem areas that come right around this area right here. This is two separate sounds, and they do work together musically, but the problem is that there are some frequencies that are kind of button heads. So listen really closely for that, and then we'll show you how we fix it up using the 7-band EQ. So here it comes. So if you can listen to this one more time, just listen in this area. I'm going to play these sounds individually for you. So here's what the first one is. And here is this one. So what I want the bass frequencies from one sound to come through a little bit more than the other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, the EQ to separate that. First of all, I need to create some separation here, volume-wise. So I'm going to lower this one just a little bit because this is our main sound, the one that we're kind of showcasing here. Then I'm going to add EQ on this here. We'll grab the 7-band EQ, also add one here. So I'm going to work on this one first. Remember, the one that I've got highlighted is the one that so right now I'm working on this one, and right now obviously I would be working on this one. So be conscious of what's highlighted and what you're doing, where it is. Now I went ahead and panned this one a little bit more center because I'm going to be grabbing the bass frequencies from this one. So that's just a creative choice there. Let me kind of get this a little bit closer here. So I'm going to solo this, and then I'm going to set it for loop playback so I can just work on it over and over again. So the way I do that is I make sure that that this is selected loop. So I'm right-clicking that button, set it on loop playback, and then I will just go through an EQ. Now, really quickly before we get started, the 7-band EQ is like the 3-band, but it has a lot more frequency ranges that you can deal with. So it has an input and a phase reverse, just like the other EQs that we've seen. And then both of them, and there's both a high and a low pass filter that you can adjust for each side. So anytime this in button over here means that you're actually using the EQ and you're turning it on. So this is you can have it be a shelf or a filter. So for this one, I'm going to leave the low frequency off, but I may, because I'm going to be using the lower frequencies from this loop, I am going to turn up my slope there, or my quotient, or my Q, and I'm going to bring this down a little bit so I can get rid of some of those upper frequencies. Then I'm going to put a little boost. So right now this is in, but you'll notice I've got it as a shelf. So I want this to be more of a bump. So I'm going to put it back in. There's a bump at about 60 hertz. So each one of these, I have a couple different options. I can grab the slider here, the button, the ball here, and move it up and down, or I can physically come in and change, the parameters. If you remember, the parameters of EQ are Q, which controls the bandwidth, the amount of frequencies that are affected, the frequency, which is actually the center frequency that the range of frequencies begins at, and then also the gain, which is the up and down, the amount of boost or cut that we're adding to a situation. So that's what I'm going to do for this one. Get the crispness here in the upper regions. I'm pulling out some of that the mid-range, and then I'm adding some low frequencies here. Actually, come down a little bit here. But, as with everything when you're using EQ, you have no sense of anything until you hear it in the mix. So that sounds a lot better. Let's go here and hear this. So that's you hear a lot of that mud, that mix kind of cleaned up a little bit just from grabbing certain frequencies. Now I'll add some EQ to this section here. So there it is. Not perfect, but definitely a little bit better and a little bit more clear. And, that's kind of the way this works is we're grabbing frequency ranges from certain elements and we're including others that from other elements. And, you can do that with guitar. You can do it with pretty much everything. So the basic controls here are your Q, which controls the bandwidth, your frequency, which is the center frequency. This is going to be similar on virtually every single EQ that's out there. But what I do want to take a closer look at here is this section, the preset section. So for the preset section, you can actually pull up and view previously saved EQ settings. So it comes with a host of different types of settings that are set up. So definitely go through these, and some engineers will frown on using your own EQ, your own presets, or presets that have come with a piece of gear. For me, it's like if it's there, try it out. If it works, who cares? The bottom line is, that you get the sound that you're looking for. And if you happen to use a preset, well, then so be it. It's not a big deal. But also the cool thing here is we can actually set our own presets here. So I could actually save this setting as something, I would use this for, I don't know, maybe it's specific to this song. So I would, whatever the song title is. and just save my own setting here. And that way, if something comes back to it, or if I make some changes and I'm, not happy with those changes, I try another, patch, and I'm like, okay, well, let me, oh, I don't like that. Now I can come back over here to this and set it back again, and then, I haven't lost anything. So in the next video, which is going to talk about EQ in regards to your next to your mix assignment, we'll talk about some other EQ techniques that are pretty important, and basically just want to give you an overview of how to use the EQ. The last thing we'll cover really quickly is automation. Anytime you're automating a plugin, and the EQ is no exception, you're going to enable automation by choosing what parameters in that plugin you want to automate. So here's a list of all your plugin parameters, and you can actually grab sections of those and add those, and those have now become automatable. But we'll cover that in greater detail. The bypass is just what it looks like. It's the bypass, and this is actually I can actually change what channel this is associated with, or I can change the plugin. This actually allows you to change the plugin. But that's not what we want to do on this one. So that's it for now, guys. Stay tuned, more to come.